What if I told you that the most feared warlord in history was also one of the greatest recruiters the world has ever seen? Strange, right? Because when we hear the name Genghis Khan, most of us picture scorched earth, galloping hooves, cities crumbling under flaming arrows, Mongol fury, barbarism, chaos. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Genghis Khan didn't build the largest land empire in human history just by swinging a sword. He built it through alliances, weird ones, unthinkable ones, with scholars, engineers, spies, even holy men. Many of them came from the very civilizations he was supposed to hate. So, how does a man who slaughters millions also become the trusted friend of their wisest thinkers? Let's take a ride into the shadow empire behind the Mongol conquest, the empire of ideas, loyalty, and terrifying pragmatism. Yup, sometimes history's plot twists are stranger than fiction. Here's how it all started. In the early 1200s, Temujin, later crowned Genghis Khan, united the warring tribes of the Mongolian steppe. But he knew that brute force wouldn't be enough to hold the fragile unity of cultures from the Pacific to the Caspian. So he did something no warlord before him had the guts or the genius to do. He offered his enemies a choice: join me or disappear. Some vanished, but others, they joined. And those who did unlocked power beyond imagination. Take Yelu Chikai, a towering heathen Confucian with a beard as long as a scroll and a mind like a blade. He once served the Jin dynasty, very empire Genghis was trying to obliterate. But instead of executing him, Genghis Khan invited him to become an advisor. Not just any advisor. The advisor, Yelu, told him, "You can conquer the land on horseback, but you cannot govern it on horseback." Boom. Just like that, Genghis began collecting administrators like they were peckymen. Instead of raising every city, he learned to tax them. Fear became law, and law became stability. As his armies swept west, he met Persian bureaucrats, Muslim engineers, and even Christian monks, people who should have resisted him. But many didn't. Why? Because Genghis offered something most rulers didn't: a seat at the table, as long as you were useful. Think about that. While Europe was tearing itself apart over religion and inheritance, Genghis was out there hiring Persian scientists to create siege engines, Chinese scribes to standardize legal codes, and Muslim doctors to tend to his generals. He wasn't building an empire of Mongols. He was building an empire of minds. And it gets deeper. Along the Silk Road, he recruited merchants, not soldiers. Why? Because merchants knew geography. They knew local politics. They knew what the people feared, what they worshipped, what they were willing to betray. In short, merchants were walking intel centers. They became the Mongol internet, relaying messages, gathering rumors, and moving goods. Through them, Genghis built the yam, a postal system so fast and efficient it would embarrass some governments today. But now comes the most chilling part. While Europe was praying for salvation from the Mongol Devil King, Christian monks inside the empire were helping him. Nestorian Christians, a lesser-known sect band in parts of Europe, found refuge among the Mongols. They translated documents, advised on Western affairs, and even became ambassadors. When the Pope got a letter in perfect Latin, guess who helped write it? The Mongols didn't care about your faith. They cared about your function. If you were brilliant, loyal, and had useful skills, you were in. That's the twisted brilliance of it all. Genghis Khan didn't need loyalty through bloodlines. He created loyalty through purpose. And let's not pretend it was all hugs and handshakes. If you betrayed him, he made sure the punishment was so horrifying, your name would disappear from memory. But if you served him, you could rise higher than you ever could in your own country. A Persian governor who once resisted him ended up managing an entire region of the empire. A captured Chinese engineer became head of siege weaponry. Catapults toppled cities Genghis had never even seen. Even Genghis's sons married foreign princesses, not for love, but for leverage. Each marriage, each alliance, each defector became another brick in an empire that was more connected, diverse, and strategic than any before it. Exactly. We think of the 21st century as the era of global networks. Genghis Khan had already figured it out 800 years ago. He weaponized tolerance not out of kindness, but out of ruthless efficiency. And that's what makes him terrifying. He didn't just burn the old world down. He rebuilt it by inviting its best minds to join his cause. But here's the question that should keep you up tonight. If Genghis Khan could rise from nothing, unify tribes, defeat empires, and turn enemies into allies, then what kind of alliances are shaping your world right now? Who's shaking hands behind the scenes? It's being recruited while you're distracted. Because sometimes the most dangerous power isn't the one in plain sight. It's the one that whispers, negotiates, and signs deals in the shadows. And that's the real legacy of Genghis Khan. He didn't just conquer nations. He conquered people, not with fear, but with opportunity. And once you saw what he could offer, saying no wasn't just hard, it was suicidal. Join me or vanish.